Michael Landon was racing against death while still standing in front of the cameras when Hollywood's greatest irony was unfolding. On screen, he was giving people the will to live as his Highway to Heaven character, Jonathan Smith, while his body was melting away a little more each day. The set crew could see him struggling to breathe, but no one dared to say, "Stop," because Michael Landon seemed stronger than death itself. But the truth wasn't that simple. When Michael Landon was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in April 1991, the doctors were brutally honest. 6 months, they said in Dr. Morrison's cold office. Maybe less, because this type of cancer is very aggressive. Most people would go home and spend time with their families, make peace with this death sentence, and prepare for this approaching end. But Michael Landon wasn't like most people. He was America's dad, and America's dad never gave up. When he left the hospital, the April sun was burning his eyes. Michael sat in his car, gripping the steering wheel tightly, and stayed there for 20 minutes. Did he cry? No one knows. But when he appeared on the Highway to Heaven, set the next morning, that familiar determination was on his face. "Everyone, gather around," Michael said to the set crew. When everyone gathered around him, he took a deep breath. "I need to tell you something. I have pancreatic cancer. The doctors say a few months." A deathly silence fell over everyone on the set. "But," Michael continued, "I'm here, you're here, and we have a mission. We're going to keep working." He saw tears streaming from young camerawoman Jessica's eyes. "Hey," he said, approaching her, "don't cry. This is my story, and I decide how to end it." In the following weeks, the set atmosphere had taken on a strange quality. Everyone knew Michael was dying, but no one talked about it. There was a silent agreement, as if it wouldn't be real if no one put it into words. Michael joined this game too. He was joking, telling stories, acting as if everything was normal. Pancreatic cancer is merciless. It burns the body from the inside, destroys appetite, melts away weight. Michael's strong, athletic body had begun to change rapidly. Costume designer Linda constantly had to take in his clothes. "I'm reducing 2 sizes every week," she whispered to a friend. The makeup crew was also helpless. They tried to mask Michael's colorless, faded face, but the disease was progressing mercilessly, melting him away like a wax statue. "My time is limited," he said to assistant director Robert. "Every minute is precious. No retakes." Michael insisted on finishing a scene in one take. He didn't even want to rest or take breaks, because he knew that resting reminded him of death. Every second of break was a lost second for him. By May, the situation had become more apparent. Michael could no longer stand alone. He had to sit in a specially brought high chair between scenes, and assistant director Tom was constantly waiting beside him to support him. Still, he continued working. "Why doesn't he stop?" the young cameraman asked the veteran. "Because he's Michael Landon," Tom replied. "He didn't play Charles Ingalls on Little House. He really was Charles Ingalls, and Charles Ingalls doesn't give up." The crew members initially didn't know what to do. How should they treat Michael? Like a sick man or normally? Michael noticed this indecision and called everyone together one morning. "Listen," he said while sitting in his chair. "I'm sick. Yes, I'm going to die. We all know this. But I'm still here. So treat me normally. Joke with me. Make me laugh. Because I want to live even while dying." From that moment on, the set atmosphere changed. People began joking with Michael, laughing with him, acting as if it were like before. Michael was happy about this too. "That's right," he would say constantly. "There will be time to mourn at my funeral." By June, Michael's condition could no longer be hidden. His breathing was becoming labored. His speech was becoming difficult. Sometimes he would become breathless in the middle of a sentence and couldn't speak for minutes. The doctors told him he needed to stop working. Michael refused. "I'm not leaving until I shoot my final scene," he said determinedly to Dr. Morrison. "This is my story. I decide how to end it." Those final scenes were painful. When Michael looked at the camera, you could see death in his eyes, the yellowing of his skin, the trembling in his hands, his hollow cheeks from weakness. But at the same time, he had incredible strength. America's dad continued sharing his fatherly wisdom until his final moment. One of the most difficult moments was the scene where Michael's character, Jonathan, talked to a sick little girl named Sarah. "Sometimes life gets hard," Jonathan was saying to the child, "but we must never give up, because even the darkest night has a dawn." Michael was breathless while saying those words, but his voice still had that familiar warmth. When talking to that child, he wasn't just acting, he was really talking from real life. When the filming ended, the set remained silent for 10 minutes. "He was speaking for me," said camerawoman Jessica, who watched the scene later. "In that scene, Michael wasn't just Jonathan, he was our father, everyone's father." The set crew was trying to hold back their tears. This wasn't just the end of a series, this was a legend's farewell, the closing of an era. Michael Landon wasn't just acting, he was living, really living until his last breath. At the beginning of July, Michael could no longer stand. The doctors wanted to hospitalize him, but he refused. "I need to be at home," he said, "with my children. But first I need to finish my work." When the final filming day arrived, the atmosphere was very heavy. Everyone knew this moment had come. Michael was brought by the set car. He was sitting in a wheelchair, but that determination was still in his eyes. Costume designer Linda noticed Michael's hands trembling as she dressed him. "Are you scared?" he asked Linda. "Yes," the young woman confessed. "Me too," said Michael, "but we need to learn to live with fear. If fear stops us, we will never have lived." "We're shooting my final scene," he said in a weak but clear voice, "and it will be perfect, because this isn't just for me, it's for you too, for all of us." That final scene was part of Highway to Heaven's finale episode. Jonathan had completed his mission as an angel and was preparing to return to heaven. The scene was simple. Jonathan standing on a hilltop, looking at the world he was leaving behind, then turning to the camera and saying his final words to the viewers. When Michael looked at the camera, he wasn't just saying goodbye to Jonathan. Michael Landon was also saying goodbye to America. "My mission here is finished," Jonathan said in his final words, "but the memories we've created will last forever. And remember, love never dies. Love keeps us alive." Tears flowed from Michael's eyes as he said those words. Everyone on the set was crying. The cameraman, sound technician, director, even the tough-minded producer was wiping his eyes. "Cut!" shouted the director, but his voice was very weak. No one moved. Michael sat in his chair, his eyes lost in the distance. There was a long silence. Then Michael smiled. "Okay," he said quietly. "Now I can go home." Everyone on the set surrounded Michael. No one knew what to say. Michael looked at everyone one by one. "Thank you," he said. "Thank you all. You made me immortal." That night Michael returned home. The set car took him to his door. 11 days after shooting his final scene, he died on July 1st, 1991. But the legacy he left in those final scenes would continue to live forever. Michael Landon's story is a story of courage. The story of someone who didn't kneel before death, who thought of his loved ones until his final moment, who used even his own pain to give hope to others. He wasn't just playing a role in front of those cameras. He was living, really living. And perhaps this was the greatest irony. While Michael Landon was racing against death, he was actually challenging immortality. Because the courage and love he showed in those final scenes would live forever in our hearts. America's dad was truly immortal.